Today we're talking about mastering editing ideas, the exact same process that top editors in the industry use to come up with great editing ideas, and your brain looks at their work and tries to comprehend how they even came up with this animation in the first place. The reason that these elite editors are able to consistently come up with great ideas is because of their visualizing process. Yes, you might have technical skills in Premiere Pro or technical skills in After Effects, but how do you actually translate a boring script and compile it into a fancy looking video, fully animated? And this is the art that I've mastered over the years. I've analyzed the workflow of hundreds of editors across different industries, and they all follow the same ideation framework, except it's all just subconscious. So in this video, I'm going to break it all down. This is a proven step-by-step video on how they come up with an animation, all the way from thinking to executing it. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you will never ever struggle looking at an empty script and not knowing what to animate ever again. By the way, I'm AR7 and I've edited motion graphics over the last 6 years and I've generated millions of views. I've worked with top clients. I even declined Iman Gadzi from a full-time position last year as a client. This stuff is what I do all day long. Now, just right before we dive in, I want to tell you about Editors League. Editors League is my editing community where I teach you all the way from becoming a great editor to making a profitable editing career. Even this video that I'm showing you today, all of this was beforehand, 3 months literally in Editors League. So if that's something that you're interested in, click on the first link in description and join before the price increases. So with that being said, let's dive in. Okay, so here's the no bullshit guide to getting infinite animation ideas, and I'm not here to waste your time. I'm here to get right into it. Alright, so how I come up with ideas. Now, before understanding how to come up with ideas, a lot of people miss the core fundamental of why are animations or VFX actually put onto the screen. So when a creator comes up with a certain idea, there is uniqueness and there is creativity to it, right? So the person who came up with the idea of coming up with animations and to put them in short form and long form videos, which is something from a very, very long time, they had a certain unique thought. And what we're going to be going is we're going to be going to the core message to why this unique thought was put in the first place. All right. Imagine if there was a long ass sentence that was being said, which could be summarized in a very, very short manner. What happens is the core message is pushed down to like 3 sentences instead of like a whole ass essay, and the same key point is given. So imagine when you look up a podcast, right? And the podcast is 1 hour about a certain topic. There is a lot of unnecessary convos that is happening that is wasting everybody's time. And what we need to do is we're extracting the core message. So if we're thinking of this in terms of animations, it's the exact same way it is done. All right. So we are identifying the main idea or the key takeaway from the script. So if there's a long ass key script, we're just trying to identify the main idea to put it into a visual representation, and I'll get into practical examples. We're highlighting essential phrases that drive the meaning forward, and we are stripping away any unnecessary details from the visual representation. Anything that is unnecessary, we're just removing it. Doesn't need to be there, all right? Only the script will be there. So this is the first thing, is we're extracting the core message. The second thing, why we're putting up animations on a screen, is because we want to align visuals with understanding. The whole point of an animation is we're putting animations for the viewer to be able to understand what is being said easier. So again, if there was an essay that was being said, or if there was a long video, a long concept that was being explained, it makes it 10x or 15x more easier when you have animations that explain the situation, because a human can interpret an image or an animation much faster than they can interpret words. So imagine if you have a book and the book has sentences and every sentence has an image. So it's like I don't know, with anime it's like manga or whatever it's called. So this makes it very, very visualizing, and for the person to be able to picture what's happening in his mind and to create a story out of it, okay? So what we need to do is we need to align visuals with understanding. Ensure that the visual enhances comprehension, not just decorates the scene. It makes it much easier to understand. Every animation, every design element should make it easier to grasp the content. If the visual doesn't add value, it's not needed. And this is something you're going to see a lot with big creators like Iman Gadzi. It's just that you're not diving deeper into it to analyze it. Now go and look at animations. You're gonna understand there is a lot of unnecessary details that being cut out from the animations, and he's only showing what's important from the animations, regardless of the script just existing. And then the third thing is something that is not 100% prescription or criteria. It's just something that I try to follow in my mind or have it somewhere in my mind, and then it like the world just follows behind it. So you can use metaphors and symbolism to, instead of showing something literally, you can find a metaphorical representation. So if we're talking about an improvement, a small dot growing into a full circle. If for example, someone is feeling stuck, a square trying to fit into a circular hole, or speed or an urgency, a stopwatch ticking down. And the reason for this is humans are able to understand examples much more than understanding the actual meanings of a certain description. All right. This is why when people explain, they use examples a lot. It's just that it's so subconscious that we don't even study the situation to be understanding this is what we need to do with animations. So oftentimes you'll hear someone talking about a certain topic and they'll come up with an example to make it as easy as possible for you to understand. And what they do usually is they try to get in your mind with an example that you understand it yourself. So I have one of my students, he's a football fan and he's like this Cristiano Ronaldo nerd and he loves Cristiano Ronaldo. What I do is I give him examples of edits like he's on the pitch, so he's able to understand it and feel that visual emotion much more, and he's able to like picture the situation. That's exactly what we need to do with visuals, right? So now that you understand these three concepts, let's go over key animations and practical examples that we can pretty much analyze and study the situation. So I'll tell you like the script, I'll tell you how the process is done. Okay, it's very simple, and then we'll go over what the actual output was, and then in the end of the video I will also talk to you guys about some certain sources that I use and whatsoever to come up with better and better ideas. It's not just this is just one way of comprehending everything, and then I even have a lot other sources like Notion boards that I use or Pinterest boards that I use and etc. to come up with better ideas. But yeah, we'll go over 3 practical examples. So the first script, and the reason for the script to be very specific is all of you are going to have specific and challenging situations. I cannot go for something very general. So I want to go over 3 different examples in 3 different niches. All right, so we have the script. It says if you are new to crypto, you're probably feeling overwhelmed, okay? Too many tokens, too much hype, and everyone is telling you what to buy. So immediately off the bat from the script, I have like a certain criteria that I'm trying to follow just by understanding these 3 things. So if we talk about step number 1, which is extracting the core message, all right? So how can we extract the core message? The core message over here is that when someone is new to crypto, they feel overwhelmed. There is a lot of things happening around them and everyone is telling them what to buy. This is the exact core message, all right? Now, how can we visualize this? Now we need to identify the main idea, okay? If you are new to crypto, you're feeling overwhelmed. Now, this is a very insane emotion that we can show, feeling overwhelmed, okay? This is something that will help us a lot in visualizing what we need to do, okay? Too many tokens, too much hype. This is something that can be integrated because these are connected points, okay? These are connected points of the story. If someone's feeling overwhelmed, how are they feeling overwhelmed? By too many tokens and too much hype. So these are connected. We don't need to separate them. This is what I call like the simplifying, right? This is how we can simplify things. You don't need to show an overwhelming emotion and then show a bunch of tokens and show a bunch of hype. It can just be simplified, right? And everyone is telling you what to buy. This is also something that we can visually display, okay? So what we have extracted from the situation is the main idea will be feeling overwhelmed. So I'm just gonna put this on the side, and everyone is telling you what to buy, okay? This is the main idea of the whole script. Initially, they're feeling lost. They're pretty much just feeling lost, okay? So off the bat over here, I'm trying to think of ideas of like, how can we show someone feeling overwhelmed, right? This is where we want to grasp the concept. Okay, every animation or design element should make it easier to grasp the concept. In this point, feeling overwhelmed, what we can do is pretty much open up Pinterest at this point. Okay, and this is where it will get a bit more complex to come up with ideas or like how we can display our scene, but we have something that is a very, very good starting. Right, I know how to make scenes feel overwhelmed, and also I can kind of understand how to visually display everyone is telling you what to buy. Imagine like a bunch of people and they're like speaking and they're like, hey, buy this, buy that, buy this. But this is like to visually display this kind of gets hard, right? So this is where we want to simplify the situation. And here is pretty much where I'm just searching on Pinterest and I wrote feeling overwhelmed animation, right? And we at this point of time we just want to kind of be able to visualize. So over here I can kind of see this is making some sort of sense, you know, feeling overwhelmed. This kind of makes sense. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna copy this and paste it. This is also another great way to make it feel like it's overwhelmed. So imagine like there is a person who's stressed out, and then we want to show like multiple different tokens and different whatever based on what's being said. So these, although they look lame, okay, this is not what I'm telling you to design. This is more like just a visual display. So just off of this, I can kind of show what feeling overwhelmed looks like. Okay, so I can extract certain things. First thing, there'll be a person, maybe. Okay, there'll be a person who's obviously sad, not happy. Okay, and then we can have some sort of a circle or some sort of a line or whatever, multiple different tokens. Over here we can like kind of show tokens. So we can show BTC, we can show Solana, we can show all of the different tokens of crypto. And this is where we can simplify it. Okay, feeling overwhelmed. So now I already have a visual display of how my scene is going to look, and this is just by me extracting and now trying to simplify the situation to be able to grasp the concept for the viewer. Okay, everyone is telling you what to buy. Over here, everyone is telling you what to buy is kind of hard for me to interpret in my mind as to how I'm going to display this. And here is where I'm using like different sources of how I come up with ideas and everything. So at this point of time, I'm just gonna open ChatGPT and I'm gonna search up with ChatGPT. Okay, how can I visually display this script? And then let's see what ChatGPT has to say. Okay, and I take a lot of help from ChatGPT, guys. Like, you think you have to rely on your own brain? You don't have to. I mean, most of the times I get it like very, very intuitively, but in this situation, you know, it gets kind of tricky. So how can I visually display this script? Now, a lot of people in this situation, what they would go and they will just pull up text. Okay, and I have some editors that I know, all they do is just put up fucking text, and it pisses me off. All they do is just put up like, everyone is telling you what to buy. Like, okay, you don't need to put up that much text. Like, we're trying to visually display what's happening, and that's very, very important. Text will be there. I'm not saying you shouldn't have text, right? Like in this scene, we can probably have a big text that says overwhelmed behind this person, but at least we're kind of visually displaying. And sometimes it's okay to just put up text, but most of the times it's not okay. It's not like you can just put up text in every single situation. Okay, that's bad. So over here, everyone is telling you what to buy. So how can I visually display this? Look at it. Rapid cuts of influencers, YouTube thumbnails, TikTok videos, and Instagram ads recommending different products. You need this gadget, you need that gadget. Best investment of 2024. That's amazing. This makes a lot of sense. This is like kind of what I said. A character walks into a store and multiple salespeople aggressively pitch different products. Now, this is going to be something that's going to be very, very hard to display. But regardless, we can. It's not impossible. I'm not saying it's impossible. But yeah, initially, I like this the most. Okay, everyone is telling you what to buy. And now at this point, we're even like speaking to our audience, right? So something very important over here, it says influencers and thumbnails all recommending different products. So what we can do is, for like the second part, is we can have, let's say, an Instagram page or some sort of an Instagram page that shows multiple reels, okay, with different names, and they have like some sort of titles. They're like, buy this coin, okay, and they're gonna be like multiple reels. So if we show multiple reels in some sort of a way, and we kind of integrate it with this part, okay, and over here is where like my own creativity comes up, and this is something that is gonna be with you down the line. So imagine this person is feeling overwhelmed, and then it switches to him looking at all of these reels, right? So this is initially how we can come up with ideas, and you can see how I use Pinterest and ChatGPT very creatively, and that's initially what I wanted to show you. Now let's show you the final output as to how it actually looks like.
If you're new,
So here we go. Let's have a quick look at it.
if you're new to crypto, you're probably feeling overwhelmed. Too many tokens, too much hype, and everyone is telling you what to buy.
There we go. That was pretty much how easy it was, okay? And obviously, if we're talking in terms of animation itself, that is completely dependent on your skill, and that is something that you're gonna face, and you just need to face it as a human. But the most important thing is to be able to come up with how visually you're gonna show your scene, to have like some sort of a visual representation and design, and then from there you can move forward and work on your animations and test forward and backwards with it. I'm gonna make another video on how to come up with like actual, let's say, practically just animating based on the design, okay? But that's something that's very intuitive, like I can't even explain it. In this situation, it's more like how can we design our scene, how can we visually display our scene, right? So look at it, guys. This is a video, this is not something that this is something that pretty much just came up from these thoughts. Feeling overwhelmed, here we have some sort of a harmony. You can see how it's close, okay? There is literally different icons. There is a person and he looks sad, as I said. Okay, he looks sad because overwhelming is a sad emotion. And then there is multiple coins, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, a ton, and I don't know what the fuck. This was something that was probably harder to display, so it went like with this idea, okay? And then everyone is telling you what to buy.
Too many tokens, too much.
Look, the too much tokens, too much hype, it wasn't even something that was necessary to make like a whole different animation of. It just said he's looking at the tokens. It was integrated with the first scene, okay? And then everyone is telling you what to buy. The same character then goes from looking at this to looking at multiple different reels.
And everyone is telling you.
There we go, multiple different reels. The only thing that might be missing over here is the emphasis on the situation of people telling what to buy. So in this situation, I would probably put in like larger titles over here, which would say, buy this now or get this coin. And this is something that is very brand resonating, which is why it went like with reels, right? It all depends on who you're editing for and who the actual creator is. You want to speak the language of their audience, which is why in this situation, it's showing other crypto reels that have similar animations. It's actually all his animations. But yeah, this is pretty much like the idea itself, as you guys saw. Very, very fucking simple. Not hard at all, okay? Now at this point of time, you might still be confused and you might still be having a lot of thoughts. And this is why we're gonna go into our second idea, okay? Which is gonna be in a kind of a different niche. Now let's kind of delete, or actually I'm just gonna take this and pull it downwards. There we go. Now we have our second script, which the creator says the following, and this is something that Iman's editor is responsible for, right? It was his animation, but I'm just like taking good animations and kind of making the concept out of it. So the script says, you can have the most beautifully designed store. So we're extracting things right now. First thing, the most beautifully designed store. But if people can't find the way to what they're looking for, hence they cannot find the checkout, they're simply going to leave. So the second point is can't find the checkout, okay? And the third point is they're simply going to leave. So this is what we extracted, that no matter how beautifully designed the store is, no matter how beautifully designed the store is, can't find the checkout, they will leave. This is pretty much what we want to display in our animation right now. And this is something that is less literal, okay? And here I will talk about the point of using metaphors and symbolism, okay? And this is just something that is depending on situation versus situation. over here in one of my previous videos, I kind of explained this a bit deeper, which is another concept. But if we go on my YouTube real quick and we check out this video, which is how to get ideas and design it, it's from this video, but I will just cover it real quick. So we had a script the other day, and the script literally said, how to find the right clients. Okay, just to simplify it, there was two different ways we could have done this. One was literally, so to find clients, to put it in an animation, was you can have multiple clients in one animation and then one of them pops up. That is like the process of finding clients if we're talking about it literally, but this is something that's too common. So here is where we go into, okay, let's show a metaphorical simplified display is finding clients. How we're going outside of the box and we're showing the literal with a metaphorical perspective. So over here, from there, I extracted the words because we're looking for finding, right? So where is it that you find? Where can you find the right things? Where can you find clients? In a maze, you can find the right exit. In a card deck, you can find the correct card. In the GPS, you can find the right location. In the library, you can find the right book. And then from here, I went on and I opened up Pinterest. I was like, okay, we can do like multiple card animation and then one of them pops up and that is the right card. Okay, that was my animation idea. But anyways, over here, this is where we're getting more into different type of a simplified display. So no matter how beautifully the design store is, we can't find the checkout store. So here we want to talk about what is the feeling that's being put on in the situation. Like, what is it that the viewers are metaphorically facing? Or how would you visually display the process of this happening, right? And so what I'm gonna do is, if you have a hard time with this, you can ask ChatGPT, but let me just explain this very quickly. So where can you not find the checkout? Let's think about the checkout like an exit in a metaphorical world. Where can you not find the exit? Where? You cannot find the exit, obviously, in a maze. That's the first option. You cannot find the exit probably in the forest, probably in like a abandoned building or a cave. There's a lot of places where you cannot find exits and you pretty much just get lost. Even if you go to a crowded place, you don't know where to go. And in case you have problems, you can literally just ask ChatGPT, where can you not find exits easily? Here we go. Maze, forest, cave, foggy mountains, abandoned buildings, deserts. Yeah, you can also not find. So let's think about what's the easiest way we can show this. Immediately off the bat, the easiest way to display this would be a maze. Okay, so now let's think about how we can put this in a maze. Okay, you can have the most beautifully designed store, but if the people can't find the way to what they're looking for, they will just leave. So imagine, first thing, we need to show the checkout and the entrance, right? And the store is the maze itself. That is how we're thinking about it, because it's like the store is the component of where they're entering and exiting. So the store in this situation equals to the maze. Okay, the store is the maze. That means our maze will be beautifully designed. Our maze will look good. Okay, that is the first key component that is getting to my head. Our maze will look good. Don't mind my handwriting. I'm literally writing this with the mouse. So our maze will look good. That is the first thing. If people cannot find the way to what they are looking for, that means there is going to be an exit. Okay, a place where they kind of need to find the exit point, which is the checkout. Okay, the checkout is going to be our exit. And then there has to be a point where they can even leave. That means the viewer would have the option to enter and exit this maze. So the maze would be placed here. There is going to be the checkout. And then there is an entrance as well, where they can pretty much leave from, which is actually the entrance. So now what I'm thinking about, right, is imagine you open up an Ecom store. You're looking for the checkout button. You left. That means the same place you left from, you entered. That means when you open up Google, how do you enter your page? You search up on Google, right? How are you gonna exit? You're either gonna close the app or you're gonna like just press on the back button. That's how it works. That means there's gonna be a maze, there's gonna be a checkout button, and there's gonna be an entrance. And that's kind of how I'm thinking about visually making it easier for the viewer to grasp the concept while showing like some sort of a metaphor, right? We could have done a UI where we're literally showing an ecom store, and then a person is scrolling in that store, and then they're looking for the checkout page, and then they click on the checkout, they try to look for the checkout page. But that's like too literal, right? We can just make this much easier in terms of an example. This is the first idea that will come in your head, would be like, hey, I can just show a screen and we're looking for the checkout button, or we're not finding the checkout button, and then we're gonna close the page, right? And they press X on the window. But this is just like another way we can visually display this. I'm not saying it's wrong to like literally open up Google and then show that certain sort of animation, but this is just something that is much more fun, okay? And this you can do from time to time. This is what will make you stand out, and people will be like, oh my god, how do you have these killer ideas? So yeah, this is like kind of how I'm thinking about it in terms of animation. That means the maze is gonna be beautiful, and then they cannot find the checkout. That means they will go inside, they will hit some walls, they'll hit this wall, and then they'll go here, and then they'll hit this wall. They'll try to make it to the checkout and be like, fuck bro, I cannot find the checkout. So they'll just leave from the place where they entered. So now let's show you guys how it looks. So let's have a look over here of the animation that we have. Let's play it.
You could have the most beautifully designed store, but if people can't find a way what they're looking for and can't find the checkout, they're gonna simply leave. And it's no different with websites.
There we go. Exactly what I said in terms of the idea. And you know, to come up with like how good the maze would look, or how you can make the maze look good and everything like that, that's gonna be Pinterest. Pinterest is gonna help you in that situation. But as long as we can visualize how our animation will look, that's a very, very good starting point, right? This maze looks fucking beautiful. There is the entrance, there is the exit icon, and then there is this little ball that's trying to make it, and then the ball exits. And for you to be able to find ideas as to how you're gonna be able to design the scene, that's something that is more towards skill and being able to find inspiration. But if I just like go on Pinterest and I search up beautiful maze 2D, maybe we are able to find something, or maybe not, but you know, anything helps. For example, this is something that we can potentially use as to how our maze looks, but the problem in this maze is that it doesn't have like an entrance point or an exit point. This is something that makes more sense, and then you also like need to look at more stuff. There we go. This is something that also kind of makes sense. Over here we have like a maze that kind of goes through different paths. Look at this. This makes sense. Look at how this looks and how this looks. It's very, very similar. So for example, you can create your maze, and then to make it look good in design, that's honestly just your editing and design skills, and that's all upon you. My job over here is to tell you how to visualize an animation and get ideas. Now let's go over our third example, which is going to be, here's the thing. I was stuck, and I was stuck so badly because the rate at what I was improving on was so slow. Okay, so let's extract again from the points. What do we need to extract here, boys? Here's the thing, completely unnecessary. We don't need to even show this. Okay, this is pretty much something that's just gonna be cut out of this situation. I was stuck. What we need to show here is stuck. Okay, this is something that's very important, the word stuck itself, because the rate at what I was improving on was so slow. So improvement was slow. So this summarizes it to be that stuck because improvement slow. So how can we show stuck because improvement was slow? Now, immediately off the bat, I'm going to use ChatGPT off of this one. How can we visually or visualize this script? I was stuck because improvement was slow. Show me a literal, or give me a literal idea and a simplified metaphorical, and let's see what it gives us in terms of the results. Okay, literal idea: a character is walking on a treadmill set to extremely slow speed while trying to move forward. No matter how much the effort they put in, the progress bar is noticeable and the frustration. Okay, the thing over here is we need to speak to the audience. So if we were editing for a gym creator, this would make sense. Okay, but if we're talking to, I don't know, editors or whatever, it wouldn't make sense. So here is where we talk about, like, if you guys remember in the beginning, you need to speak to your audience, okay? And that's something that I think we should add over here. Speak to your audience. So yes, ChatGPT did give a good idea, but it doesn't speak to the audience. We cannot show a treadmill to editors. Metaphorical, a rusty gear trying to turn, but moving at an excruciatingly slow pace. Small bits of rust fall as it's barely rotating. Okay, that's good. But I have better ideas. But anyways, let's say, by the way, this is a script from one of my videos. So the people that I'm talking to, or the audience that I was talking to, were editors actually. Let's say the audience that I'm talking to is creatives and editors. I don't think it will be able to give. This is at this point is like where we cannot use ChatGPT much, but it always helps with like moving forward. A progress bar in editing moves painfully slow, stuck at 1% because the render is slow. I mean, I'm not too happy. But anyways, here's my idea. Here's what I had when I was doing it. Okay, I was like, okay, I was stuck because the rate that I was improving on was slow. And how can I show this? Here I was like, okay, my audience is editors. God, my handwriting is so bad. Is editors, right? My audience is editors. What are some elements that I can show? First thing, we need to have like an object that is being stuck, okay? It can be stuck anywhere. So my object immediately off the bat, I was like, damn, I can show a keyframe because what? That makes sense, right? So my keyframe is gonna be like this easy ease keyframe that I can show the editors. It resonates. So this is going to be my object. This is what I chose as my object. Then I was like, okay, how can I show me being stuck? And then I went on and I was like, okay, where can you be stuck? Again, you can be stuck in many places. You can be stuck in a maze. You can be stuck in a room. You can be stuck in a fucking elevator. You can be stuck everywhere in the world. And I was like, okay, let's gamify this shit. And then out of the list of examples that I had while I was talking to ChatGPT and looking at different things, I got an idea. It was pinball. Okay, and this makes a lot of sense. If you guys don't know what a pinball is, it's this game, like this arcade game that I used to play when I was young. It's like there is a ball and you click on buttons and the ball is stuck, like it's moving everywhere. I was like, damn, that is something that I can probably do. So I was like, okay, I have my keyframe and that's gonna act as my pinball, and then I have the pinball object, so I can like put in one object here. I can put in one obstacle here. I can put in one obstacle here. I can put in one obstacle here, and just make the keyframe move between everything, right? Okay, that's what I had. And then I was stuck here. I was like, okay, how can I show the rate at what I was improving on? And improvement, if you guys remember, improvement can be displayed in many ways. And I kind of opened up Pinterest, right? And I was like, okay, improvement visual display. And I saw like this one thing, and I don't know, it was like after I was kind of going through a lot of animations and a lot of examples, there was this thing which was like this snake game, okay? And the snake was eating other snakes and it was gaining in size. And there was another example, it was like a ball, that there was like a small ball, and then there was like literal small pieces going onto the ball. The ball was becoming bigger, and that was a click for me. I was like, okay, that makes a lot of sense, right? Because how is improvement, like if we think about it in terms of your brain, how do you get improvement in your brain? Is you learn a lot of things. So think about like these learnings coming in like a streamline, and your brain is forming to become stronger and smarter and whatever, and then from the inside it's improving. So after like I tried to look at animations and ideas, and I like clicked on many results. I was like, okay, I can pretty much do the exact same thing. As I can make this object, some particles go into these objects, and then the object is very slowly improving to the point where the object is barely getting any bigger. Okay, so that's where I was like, okay, now how can I form this? And I had an idea from there onwards. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have a keyframe, which is gonna be my object. Okay, keyframe is gonna be my object, and it's gonna hit multiple obstacles. Okay, and once it hits, it goes up and there is small particles that go into the keyframe, and it becomes bigger in size, but very, very, very slowly, but it's almost unnoticeable. So that is what I had, and then I struggled. I remember at that point I struggled with coming up with the idea of like, how can I design my pinball. I was like, okay, pinball and pinboard, and I looked at multiple different examples. What is it called? Is it not called pinball? Pinball game design. And I opened up one of the things and I was like, damn, it's this literal second and first result. I was like, okay, I can use these famous objects, which is, if you guys see, these 4 objects. This, it's not showing here, but if I go outside, it shows. Or these objects, you can see this, and this. There's like one hitter, and then there is 2 obstacles that is just reflecting them. And I put that into my After Effects, and I just kept on banging it. So let's have a quick look as to how it looks. But here's the thing. Here, named it keyframe animation. So have a little look at this, boys. But here's the thing. I was stuck. And I was stuck so badly because the rate at what I was improving on. There we go. Very, very simple. So obviously the design and the animation looks very great in terms of the way I made it look. But that's just like total creativity. So I had this obstacle. I had this keyframe. I had, the keyframe hitting these obstacles. And pretty much after it hit, here is where I said, because the rate at what I was improving on, so these little particles, they start coming up, and you can see the keyframe is getting bigger and bigger in size, but very slowly. So I made it noticeably unnoticeable. That means it's visible that it's becoming bigger in size, but it's almost like, is it? You're seeing it become bigger in size, but is it? So it's like it's mindfuck, right? So that is like another animation idea that I did. But yeah, guys, I hope this clears up and makes it much easier for you to go on and get your next script to be able to visually display. Now make sure that you have good inspiration libraries to look at many other edits. I look at Emons and all of these editors all day. I have inspiration libraries, I have my Pinterest boards, I have every single thing that I use, and obviously I'm gonna give away everything that I have in the description. But yeah, if you guys want a deeper insight on this, and if you guys want more, you can join Editors League, which is my paid community right now, only for $47. I cover every single thing you need as an editor, all the way from becoming a great editor to getting your client and sustaining a long-term profitable career. But yeah, guys, all the resources and everything and whatever you need is gonna be in the first link in description, which is the community. And with that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.